Everything started the day the online game the main character had played for 3 years was shut down. Feeling bored, he looked for a new game and saw an ad for an endless game. Without thinking much, he clicked the link, chose Hell Mode as the difficulty, and selected his talents. But suddenly, the screen on his computer got brighter and brighter, until all that was left was his empty chair. In another world, 5 years had passed since the man was reborn as a baby. Now, a bit older, he lives in a small village as a servant. He's not allowed to do any other job or even leave the village. His mother also works there and wants him to live like a normal child, always refusing his help. But her son hides his past life, not wanting to scare his new family. One day, he walks away quietly and opens his magic book. He stops at a page about summonings, creatures that can be summoned from cards using magic. These creatures become battle partners. The problem is, he still can't fight magical beasts. His goal is to get the blessing of one of the 20 summoned creatures listed in the book. This blessing will increase his stats. Right now, his physical strength is about the same as a normal adult, which is enough for now. He learns that controlling his stats is basically like controlling the game. As he reads, the afternoon bell rings. A child appears and steps on the creature Alan had summoned. Not minding, Alan agrees to play with Karina, his training partner, who also can't hunt magical beasts. They face each other with wooden swords, pretending to be knights. In his head, Alan thinks it's pretty embarrassing to do this as a 35-year-old man. Karina attacks first and shows great speed. They fight back and forth, with Alan blocking her strikes. He boosts his agility, but his body still struggles to keep up. Karina ends up breaking his sword for the 10th time. She laughs, saying fighting him is more fun than fighting her dad. Alan feels embarrassed, but his father appears and tells him not to feel bad about losing. After all, he just fought a holy swordswoman. Karina says she'd actually prefer to be just a regular swordswoman. Excitedly, she says Alan must have some kind of special talent. But Alan's dad says the priestess checked, and he has none. In truth, nobody can read what's written in Alan's talent bar because of some kind of error or distortion. All Alan can do is hope it gets fixed one day so he can become a summoner. His dad comforts him, saying that even without a talent, he's proud of him and believes he'll grow into a strong man. Alan reflects on how strange it is to be the son of poor parents who are younger than him. Karina's dad comes to take her to meet the knights who came to see the holy swordswoman. Everyone goes to town. When the townspeople, who are different from the servants, see Karina, they doubt a little girl like her could really have such power. A boy shows up to pick a fight with Alan, saying someone with no talent doesn't belong here. Karina defends him, saying he's strong, but the rude boy says Alan is just a servant. Luckily, both fathers show up and stop the fight. Just then, the village chief announces the arrival of the knights. Everyone stands to welcome them. Karina is amazed when she sees the leader of the sword knights. The knight walks up and asks if she is the holy swordswoman. Karina proudly says yes and introduces herself. But then the knight says faking a talent is a crime. To prove if her talent is real, she must fight a duel. If she or her father refuse, they will be sentenced to death. Karina grabs her sword, eyes shining, and tells her father it's okay. She'll do what she must. We find out she has to fight the knight named Riond, who has the Lancer talent. Karina's father tries to stop it, but the guards hold him back. The battle begins with the little girl attacking with all her strength. Everyone is shocked by how smoothly she swings a sword that's 3 times her size. Alan thinks about how his friend has been playing knight since she was 3, and her sword skills are even better than his. Without mercy, the knight kicks Karina far away. She crashes into a wall, creating a big crater. Her father panics and tries to run to her, but the guards stop him again, just like they did with the protagonist, who's still too weak to help. Suddenly, Karina stands up and reveals she has a hidden skill. She jumps into the air, spins, and comes crashing down on the knight. The only reason he doesn't fly back is because he blocks her hit with his sword. She keeps attacking, landing one blow after another. The leader of the knights steps in and ends the fight. With a smile, Karina says her opponent is strong and calls him old man. The knight stands up and says he's not old, then drops to his knees, showing that he lost to a little girl, the holy swordswoman. Worried, her father asks if she's okay. Meanwhile, Alan feels proud of his friend's strength. The knight leader smiles and says the king will be glad to see what Karina did to her opponent's sword. Karina walks over and asks if she can become a knight. The man tells her she'll have to wait until she turns 12. Then he'll send an instructor for her entrance exam at the Academy for Talented Children. Alan thinks to himself that the number of stars must be important for stats. Since he seems to be the only one playing in Hell Mode, he'll have to work 100 times harder to get stronger. He opens his status window and shows that even after 5 years, he's still at level 1. His life as a summoner is only just beginning. After the world learned about the Swordmaster, the village where Alan lived was renamed Karina Village. Now 6 years old, Alan has reached level 3 in his throwing skill, but he still has a long way to go to survive Hell Mode. One evening during dinner, his mother says it's strange that his father is late. He leads the beast hunting team during autumn and winter to earn extra money. Suddenly, a group shows up carrying someone on a stretcher. It's Rodan, Teresa's husband and Alan's father. As they arrive, Krena's father says Rodan's wound has already healed because they found an as flower in the forest, and the knights gave them money to search for it. Alan is confused. His dad can defeat 3-meter-tall gray boars, so how did he get injured? Krena's father explains that Rodan was hurt while protecting some foolish villagers who broke the team formation. The next morning, Rodan wakes up with his family around him. Alan, looking at the scene, thinks that even though he's technically the oldest, he still feels a strange distance between him and his family. Geller comes over and tells Rodan to rest until he fully recovers. He offers to handle everything in the meantime, but Alan jumps in and says he will take over his father's work. The next day, he starts working. Krena's father is surprised to see how serious he is. While gathering supplies, we learn that farmers must give 60% of their crops to the landlords, so Alan knows he must work hard. 2 days later, he looks proudly at the amount of food he collected. Next, he decides to go get some meat. Opening his magic book, Alan realizes he has enough experience to unlock the card enhancement skill, which boosts his stats. Then, a message pops up. He can now use Summon Bound too. He's shocked. Without delay, he uses the skill, thinking he can now catch around 50 birds. He summons 3 Biontas, but oddly, no birds seem to react to the creature's calls. Then, out of nowhere, a massive bird appears. It's an Albaharam, a monster so legendary that Rodan was inspired to name Alan after it. The creature charges at the frogs that the boy summoned. Taking a deep breath, the boy thinks the bird must be around 2 meters tall, but this is his chance to hunt a demon beast. Bravely, he throws a stone that hits the creature right on the head. Then Alan runs in and attacks it with his sword. But he quickly sees that he's not strong enough to beat it with one hit. So he changes his plan and summons some animals called patches, which look like dogs. He tells them to attack the bird with their sharp teeth. The dogs obey and surround the bird. But even with 15 of them, it's not enough to beat a monster like this. The bird changes its focus and jumps at Alan with its huge claws. Scared, Alan thinks this might be the end. He can't hold on much longer. To save himself, he summons insects called Chew. They start attacking the bird, trying to drink its strawberry juice. The plan works. The bird backs off, and Alan is relieved that his idea worked. But because he used 3 insects and 15 dogs, his blessing level goes down. Still, Alan says the most important thing is that the monster is tired. Now he has a real chance to win. He charges in again, hitting the bird over and over with his sword. After a while, a message pops up saying that the bird, Albaharan, has been defeated. Alan gains 100 experience points. Excited, Alan jumps and shouts. He's happy that he beat such a big creature with just his small hands. Smiling and surrounded by his animals, he says it was even more amazing than he imagined. Job done. He heads home, leaving everyone shocked. When they see him tying up the huge Albaharan to roast it, Gilda comes over. He says he told the village chief about Alan's victory. The chief said that if Alan kills more of these birds, he can keep all the rewards. Feeling confident, Alan decides to fight a new bird every 3 days. This helps him increase all his stats and level. Now he's level 2. He's happy. After 6 years, he finally leveled up. Even though it took a long time, that's normal in hell mode. Looking in his book, he sees that both his strength and magic are even higher than he expected. 1 month after his father was attacked, Alan says it's time to tell his parents the truth. He walks into the house and says he has something to say. His parents sit and listen. The boy says that when he was 1 year old, a woman named Alina told him he had special wisdom. His mother Teresa says that's not possible. But his father Rodin remembers that Alina is actually the ruler of the world. He pats Alan's head and says he always knew his son was special. So he believes everything he said. Alan apologizes for hiding the truth about the game. But his dad surprises him, saying he already knew. He saw the scar disappear from Alan's face and figured he must have passed the first test. He tells Alan that if things ever get too hard, he can count on his family. Then Rodin jokes, asking if Gilda knows the full story yet, just to finally quiet the guy who always brags about how great Krenite is. By December, Alan is ready to take the final step to keep his family alive through the winter. He goes to the sea with Gilda and says he'll trade Albaharan meat for firewood and salt. He then asks Gilda how a farmer can become a real citizen. Gilda says you need 10 coins. Alan thinks it through and realizes that since his family has 5 people, they'll need 50 coins. His plan is clear. Before leaving Karina, he'll work hard to get his family out of servant life. After a few days working at the market, Alan realizes he'll need to kill about 500 Albaharans to earn enough money. He stops in front of a store, thinking about buying a new weapon, but he knows he needs to save money for food and other important things. Just then, a rough-looking boy, the store owner's son, shows up and asks what Alan is doing there. Alan tries to ignore him, but the boy insists he won't leave unless they fight. Alan thinks to himself how much he hates pointless fights that don't even give experience points. Still, he grabs his sword and says he'll defeat anyone who gets in his way. The scabby boy charges at him, calling Alan weak and trash. Alan blocks the first attack and quickly sees that the boy is no match for Krina, who has 3 stars. He defeats the boy easily. Sweating and embarrassed, the boy promises he'll win next time. As Alan walks away, he says, "Maybe next time I'll actually buy something." 9 months later, Krina is holding Alan's new baby brother. Alan is again practicing sword fights against the axe user. Krina asks if Musou wants to play. Alan says his opponent's moves are too easy to read. Musou just laughs and says, "Playing knights is really fun." As night falls, Gilda and Roden show up. They say the village chief has given them a new task. This year, they need to kill 15 boars. Worse still, more civilians will be joining the fight. Hearing this makes Teresa very nervous. Roden says there's no choice. The Lord warned that next year it might be 20 boars. Alan listens and starts to worry. It feels like monster hunting is being pushed too much, and that could be dangerous. Suddenly, he speaks up loudly. He says the creator gave him wisdom, and his family should trust him to handle things. October comes again. Roden is finally back at work, and everyone is happy to see him healthy. Alan watches his dad and feels proud. Kneeling down, Roden tells Alan not to get too close to the fight. He's only there to watch and learn. Another boy says Roden doesn't need to protect Alan if he gets into danger. Roden just tells the boy to stay focused. Now that they have more targets, the team has grown to 20 people, and everyone is ready. Alan looks at the new recruits and thinks he'll have to help during the hunt. This is Alan's first time leaving the village. He's lived there for 7 years, and seeing the road makes him feel excited. It's the same road the knights once used to get to his village. His father warns him that the path they need to take is a different one. The team arrives at the hunting area. Not far off, Alan sees Mount Hereryu, the place where the white dragon lives, the one he hopes to hunt someday. Suddenly, someone yells, "The beasts are coming!" Behind him is a giant boar with sharp teeth. Scared, Alan says the creature is incredibly strong. Gilda and the others shout that it's time to shut the beast's mouth, and everyone charges with spears. They manage to hold the boar down quickly. Watching carefully, Alan understands the plan. Lure the monster, trap it, and hit its weak spots. He turns to the new recruits and tells them it's not okay to charge in blindly like before. That mistake is what got his father hurt. So the new boys must hide and wait for the right moment. Alan summons Dina, ordering her to join the fight. The big boar starts spewing its strawberry juice from its mouth, and Alan thinks it looks really cool. Suddenly, the power of the 2 rookie boys rises. They're excited, and so is Alan. He thinks they may soon be strong enough to fight on the front lines. The mission to kill 15 boars seems to be going well. Looking at his status, Alan sees he gained experience and is now level 3. He decides to keep hunting boars and albahorans until he earns 50 coins and can change his life. 5 months later, Alan has improved his summoning skill and trains his magic every day. Opening his book, he sees that now at level 6, he can summon ranky animals. He also gets a new power, storing an unlimited number of tools in a kind of black hole called storage. Also, he can now collect magic stones from the bodies of magical beasts. These can be used to improve or create ranky animals. Since ranky stones aren't worth much, he plans to collect lots of them in the forest, even though it will be a tiring job. 3 more months pass and Alan finally summons his first ranky animal. He's shocked by how it feels, amazing and powerful. He realizes summoners have different roles in battle and that their abilities are really strong. For the first time, Alan sees a clear path ahead, a future where he leads an army of summoned beasts and defeats any enemy that stands in his way.